Peekaboo, peekaboo. Okay, so I am back and we are doing Saturn, the planet Saturn in the sign of Capricorn. Okay, so actually, guys, what do I have to say about this? Wow. When you have Saturn in the sign of Capricorn, you actually have Saturn in a place where it's comfortable at. I mean, Saturn rules the sign of Capricorn, of course, and it feels right at home here. Okay. Now, this is the thing, because yet and still, and I always say this because depending on what other aspects you have that's meeting up with this placement, and as far as what house is in, that makes all of the difference. So, you know, that's a personal chart read. But with setting all that stuff to the side and just dealing with Saturn in the sign of Capricorn, what you have is an individual that is an old soul that can be wise beyond their time. And you can even notice this, either you notice this in this individual when they're younger, or it may not come out until they're older, like almost 30 or in their 30s, up until 35 or after as well. So with that being said, this individual could really come off as either very mature or very immature. Because remember, guys, we're doing the two side to a coin thing, thingamajig, when you do it with me, the two sides to a coin. And with certain placements, especially depending on where it's placed at in the chart and everything, I always tell you guys that there's more than one way it's like two different ways to look at the placement. So, and that's pretty interesting that I say that, because usually when you are talking about the planet Saturn and the sign of Capricorn, you're talking about stubborn. So with this particular aspect, you're talking about double stubborn. Okay. And you usually don't get much flexibility to be having room to be talking about two sides of one coin. But no, it's literally how the energy falls inside the chart and how it plays out. Now, with Saturn and the sign of Capricorn, these people have very great potential, like huge potential. As a matter of fact, they can almost feel burdened because of this potential. And earlier on, they can feel burdened because of responsibilities that they have or work that they have to do. Now, I've also seen these individuals seem like who they are, what they deal with is a burden to someone else. Okay? But this is the thing. These are very strong individuals. In their life, they can have situations that they have to overcome and triumph over, and then they can see that the fruits of their labor, whatever it was that they were working hard at, finally come to fruition. And they can also have property and other materials passed down to them. Okay, so they can acquire great wealth. Now, take Saturn and the sign of Capricorn in the 10th house, which is Saturn and sign of Capricorn in the 10th house, where it rules the 10th house. 10th house is the sign of Capricorn. If you take this aspect, you will find somebody that has great power and like an authority figure. Mind you, without this placement being in the 10th house, this person could still be seen as an authority figure. Okay. But in the 10th house, they're definitely seen as an authority figure, and people take them serious. But then here's the catch. You don't usually get to that point of people taking you serious until you've worked hard and you've shown and you've proven yourself that you built up to. You did a lot of work. So without being in the 10th house or anything like that. Let's say this is Saturn and Capricorn in the 5th house. You can find that you may be, instead of having fun and just letting go and just being free, even in love and dating and stuff like that, you can find yourself overly serious, okay, overly cautious, or some form or another. There's some type of obstacle there that where you're either feeling insecure or you're feeling like you know, I don't got time to be playing games with you, therefore I'm going to be serious about love. Or you can see that where you may want to have fun and let loose, the situations around you stifle that. Okay, stifle that a bit. So it's a very heavy placement, but it's a very strong one. Saturn and Capricorn, people with Saturn and Capricorn, period, okay, are builders. And it's good to get like your younger Saturn and Capricorn children to have things that they have to build, structurize, plan, schedule, so it can help keep them focused or keep them on track. Because you can see a lot of kids with displacement that's just sometimes all over the place, depending on what their sun sign is, or where they lack having the stability that they need as far as organization and things of that nature being structured, because it's just hard for them to do. Now, mind you that people with Saturn in Capricorn can be very structured people. And if they're not structured people, there's going to be situations in their lives that require them to be structured, organized, serious, or they'll find that it makes it that much harder for them to accomplish a major goal, because this placement is all about accomplishing not little goals, but major goals. And don't get discouraged, because if you're trying and you're trying and you're trying and it's seeming like you're not coming up with the right answers, it's a lot of trial and errors and things of that nature, and everybody else is making it and things of that nature, don't get too hard on yourself, because usually Saturn and Capricorn is not coming with no minor goal, and it's something serious. And when you finally do complete it, you're going to have something that sticks, that lasts, that people cannot tear down, that cannot be taken from you. And you can also find like you are a very big factor when it comes to your like a company or business or something you work for. It's very tricky with displacement, because like certain placements I can directly tell you A, B, or C, but since this placement is more complicated, it's like I tell you, you find yourself on two sides of the same coin. Now, some people with displacement, depending on what other aspects they have, they find it very easy to land, to work their way up to management, supervisor, running the place, getting the place passed down to them, probably taking on a family, like a business that's in a family name and stuff like that. And then you can find the other side is that it's hard to make these accomplishments, because it's a lot that you have to work after. It's a lot of responsibility. Maybe they want to pass down the family business to you, but you really don't want to do that. You might not want to work in a business that they're trying to pass down to you, or some type of structure that's already set in place that you feel if you don't take it on, it'll be your fault if you leave it and it's a failure. However, if you were to follow your true self, you can possibly branch out and do way better and come up with something like even better. So it's a lot of responsibility. Okay. And you have to understand that it comes with a lot of work. Either other people is going to be putting responsibility on you, or you're going to have to make sure that you work hard to get to where you're going. However, when you do get there, you're going to have some type of major accomplishment that everybody notices. Okay? And listen, don't get me wrong. you probably receive this this reputation earlier on too, and you have to be careful about the choices that you make, because you have Saturn in the sign of Capricorn. So Saturn is going to be like, listen, do the right thing. Do the right thing. And you can just be like, Saturn, I'm not perfect. So, but this right here shows like a very strong authoritative figure. And if you can understand, like if you're a person with this placement and you're having trouble right now, and you can understand that just you have to work at stuff, you have to work at building stuff, trial and error. Don't worry, when you reach a certain point, it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off in a big way. Okay? But you just have to work hard. And a lot of times what people don't say about Capricorn is a lot of times you see people with heavy Capricorn placements actually like changing society. And because they have such a heavy impact, like when they finally reach that destination, it changes everything. But a lot of people might not follow along at first. Okay? But you have the power. You're the builder. You have the power to overcome your obstacles, to create structures, okay? Gain materials, establish new, it's a word I'm looking for. Establish paradigms, new paradigms. Because if you think about a paradigm, it's like a whole system of functioning pieces that fit together, that create the space that we're in. And you get that with manifestation, physical manifestation. And one of the top master manifestors that there are is Capricorn. Capricorns, people with heavy Capricorn placements or aspects. Okay, so yes, there's a lot of fear and insecurities and obstacles associated with this placement. However, and a lot of patience. A lot of patience in acquiring things, but people might have to have a lot of patience with you as well. However, when you ever make it to where you're going to go or where you're heading, which is you will, because you're not going to give up, and you don't have to start big, you can start small, because we're talking about building foundations. Okay, think about that anytime you're working on a project, anytime you're working on anything that you're doing. When you get to your end result, it will pay off and you will be noticed for it. And as a matter of fact, you could be a public image, even though you don't want to be, because placements like this, especially like in the 10th house, 5th, heavy Neptune, Pisces aspects, even the 12th house. And I got some information I'm bringing to you guys about the 12th house and Neptune as well. But even the 12th house, because a lot of people say that when you're dealing with the 12th house, you're dealing with things that's unnoticed, which is true, but at the same time, untrue. You have a lot of people, heavy hitters with 12th house placements, when they're able to connect to what it is, like a spiritual gift or either a talent that they hide or they just pass off as something that they just do is not worth sharing to the public and things of that nature. Once you do and connect with that, you see that you attract the masses of people, and the masses of people equates to popularity and even fame. Okay, and my point is, this person with the Saturn in Capricorn placement could be a public figure as well, a well-known public figure, especially when they reach that the success that they're looking for, that they're trying to reach. And even through let's say, like I told you, let's say you're doing things not so good, you get in trouble, you can be infamous as well. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there. And that was Saturn and Capricorn. I was really serious in this video, guys, which is I should have came in turned up lit and really fun to make you guys loosen up. But I know a lot of you guys are loosen, because some of you guys are loosen, some of you guys are very serious, some of you guys The people around you want you to be more serious and more responsible. Some of you guys, the people around you want you to let up and go easy. Whatever side of the coin you fall on. This is Saturn and Capricorn. I'm Butterfly to like, subscribe.